Something that is not often taken into account when we talk about human resources and job interviews is the concept of selling. A job interview is a sale in the strict sense of the word. You offer a product or a service, in this case your work, in exchange for a price, money, which is what we strictly call a wage or salary. This may not be well received because we are talking about objectification and it may not be politically correct, but it is the reality. In job interviews, you as a candidate are a salesperson. That is why applying concepts and strategies from the world of sales to job interviews is extremely useful, even if the position itself is not in sales. Therefore, today we are going to talk about how you can prepare a presentation for a job interview. And stay until the end because we will see it with a practical example so you can see exactly how you can do it. Let's go. Hello, how are you? I am John Charles. I work in human resources, and I am here to give you a hand. Before we start, let me recommend that when you watch this video, you check out the links I have left in the description box. There you will find useful and practical information so that you can answer questions well in job interviews. Okay, now let's start, and I will talk to you about the elevator pitch. This concept in Spanish would be something like the elevator pitch. Perhaps you have heard about it, but let me explain it to you so you can see how we can apply it. It is very common in the world of sales and involves placing yourself in a specific situation. Imagine you enter an elevator in a corporate building. You are an entrepreneur with a great business idea that needs investment, and when you get into the elevator, you meet a major investor. You know that this person can finance your company, but they would never accept a meeting with someone like you because you are unknown. So, this is your opportunity. You have 1 minute, which is the time it takes for the elevator to reach the floor, to explain to that investor what your idea and your company are about, and convince them to invest in it. Well, the elevator pitch is exactly that speech you give for 1 minute to convince someone of something. And that is exactly what we are going to do in this video to apply it to job interviews for when it's your turn to introduce yourself. First, let's talk about the content of the speech. Well, calling it a speech might be a bit much. We're talking about 1 minute. What I mean is the content. In a sales pitch, you try to highlight 3 key messages. In an elevator pitch? Well, in a job interview, when we face something like this, we can also use 3 key messages which are who you are, your experience, and what you bring to the company. And secondly, you must have a speech structure that also has 3 phases: the presentation, the explanation, and the closing. The presentation is the first few seconds. It's when we introduce what we are going to talk about and we say exactly that we are going to talk about who you are, what you have done, and why you are interesting for the company. The second part is the explanation. Following that content scheme, we are going to develop each of the parts: who you are, what you have done, and what you can contribute. And the last part of your speech will be the closing. These are the final seconds, and we will use them to emphasize the most important messages. It should include a sentence that highlights who you are, another that summarizes your experience, and a final one that speaks about what you can contribute. This is the conclusion, and it is what we want to remain in the interviewer's mind. What I have told you may seem somewhat repetitive because you are saying the same thing 3 times, and it is true, you are going to repeat information in a certain way, but this is exactly how messages stick. To verify this, you only need to watch the news or newscasts in your country. You will see that at the beginning they give you the headlines, then they develop them, and finally, they give them to you again at the end of the newscast. And this is on purpose because they want it to stick in your mind. In communication, it is often said, say what you are going to say it, and then say what you have said. Okay, got it now. So let's see it with an example. First, let's think about the content of the speech. Let's imagine that you are a seller of technological services and that you have a systems engineering degree. Second, what have you done? Let's imagine that you have been selling technological products for 4 years with several successes under your belt. And what do you bring to the table? Let's focus on motivation, adaptability, and results orientation. Okay, with this example, now let's see what the response would be like. Hello, I am very excited to be here and to be able to introduce myself to you. To do this, I would like to explain who I am, what experience I have, and what I believe I can contribute. Who am I? Well, I am Raul, a systems engineer with a specialty in cybersecurity, and I have specialized in selling technological solutions to both individuals and companies. As for my experience, I have been selling technological services for 4 years and have worked in both small family businesses and multinational companies, acquiring and retaining clients. In terms of results, in the last year I have increased the revenue in my area by 17% and the gross profit margin by 20%. I am very accustomed to working towards objectives and in highly volatile environments. As for what I believe I can bring to your company, I must say that I have greatly improved my sales skills in recent years, mainly due to the motivation to achieve results while continuing to grow professionally. I have adapted to different companies, different environments, and different moments in the market, and despite this, I have always achieved my goals. So by betting on me, in the end, you are betting on a person with motivation, great adaptability to different environments, and a very strong focus on achieving objectives. In short, I am a systems engineer specialized in technology sales with 4 years of experience in various environments, and I can bring a lot of motivation, results, and adaptability to a company like yours. The truth is that in this example you have seen that the information has been given in different ways and at different times, and despite everything it does not become repetitive. You more or less follow it attentively, so you can be sure that you have the profile they are looking for. In this case, they would be looking for a professional in selling technological solutions, and you already have the profile, so whatever you say will be listened to very attentively. Don't be afraid of seeming repetitive when you present yourself in this way, because the goal is not to inform but to convince that you are the right person. And delivering 3 powerful messages in a very concise manner like the one I just taught you will bring you much closer to achieving your goal. And that's all. I hope this video has been very useful to you and that you now know how to present yourself in a job interview. Of course, don't walk in, shake hands, and blurt it out. You should only keep this speech in mind when the opportunity arises to introduce yourself in the context of the interview. 1. Advice. Write this speech and practice it in front of a mirror because it will come out much more naturally. There. That's all. Thank you very much for watching the video, and if you think it can help a friend, share it with them. Good luck, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.